Good morning, everybody. My name is RJ Connell, and I am a life design strategist. If this is your first time joining one of my live broadcasts, then I want to welcome you. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about perfectionism and how to get over perfectionism and actually start and execute on your ideas. So, I'm going to jump right in. Here are some different ways that perfectionism can sound like, some different thoughts that run through our mind that if you can identify, then there probably has to do with perfectionism. So the first one is that you find it hard to delegate tasks either to people on your team or just people that you're working with in general. So if you have something that you're trying to do, you tend to either work on it by yourself because you're thinking, I want it done a very specific way, and whoever I delegate it to won't be able to do it the way that I can. And the times that you do delegate a task to somebody, you usually end up being disappointed with kind of how it turned out because it wasn't exactly the way you would have done it. So they might have still gotten the goal done, they might have still completed the task, but it just wasn't up to your standards usually. Another identifying characteristic or trait of perfectionism is that when you fail or you fall short of a goal that you had set for yourself, you tend to think and rethink, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this isn't something I should be doing, or maybe I'm not good enough. And you kind of start to rethink your whole position just because you didn't meet that one goal for yourself. Or maybe you're someone who ruminates. And what that means is that you get stuck thinking and rethinking about either a task or a moment or something like that. And you're thinking about either how it's going to turn out, or all the things that you could have done better. If it's something that you've already done, all the things you could have done better, what all the things that went wrong. And you get stuck kind of just rethinking, oh, I should have done that. And if I had done this would have turned out better. And if I had changed that, then we would have ended up with this result. And you just get stuck thinking and rethinking the idea, even if the moment is in the past and there's nothing that you can do about it now. Excuse me. Another key characteristic that I can relate to a lot is an all or nothing mentality. So what that means is that if you set a goal for yourself, or if you are in the process of setting a goal and you realize that it's a really big goal, something that's going to take you time to accomplish, you tend, or maybe you even doubt that you can accomplish it yourself, you tend to shy away from it. So if you can't accomplish a goal, you'd rather not pursue it at all, because you'd rather not pursue the goal at all than to fail trying. That's something that I can really relate to, because that was something, and it is something from time to time that I continue to struggle with. But that is a mindset that I need to shift. I need to work on and make sure that I'm focusing on progress and not perfection. And that's what I want to teach you guys today, is just some skills to help you make sure that you're focusing on just making progress on a daily and regular basis, and not getting stuck on the perfection or the lack of perfection in executing your ideas or in the circumstances around whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. This is especially important for you as you are thinking about starting your business, because execution is a huge part of making sure that you end up where you want to be. If you never execute, you're never going to get there. You're never going to see success. You're never going to reach the goals that you set for yourself if you can't execute. So that's why this is so important, to make sure that you're taking those steps on a regular basis and that you get into the habit of seeing something through to the very end. So another reason why perfectionism is an issue is because perfection is the enemy of progress. If you are focused on making sure that something is perfect before you execute on it, you're likely never going to execute. And the reason is because perfection stops you from making a forward motion. And if you think about it that way, then if something is in motion, that means its position is constantly changing. And if its position is constantly changing, then the standards by which you're measuring something should also be constantly changing, because it's never going to remain in the same place that it was before. But if and what we tend to do when we are focusing on perfectionism is that we set a general standard. Our standard isn't specific to the circumstance and specific to the situation, and it's also usually not flexible. So if something changes or if something goes wrong, we have a hard time sometimes adapting and resetting our standards to match the current circumstance. So the problem with that is that your position should be changing on a regular basis. You should be improving on a regular basis. And sometimes there are going to be extenuating circumstances that you're going to need to know how to manage as well with your expectations. And so that's part of the reason why it's an unrealistic and also unachievable standard, because it doesn't always make sense for where you are. It might have made sense for where you started, or sometimes it doesn't make sense for where you want to be as well. And so you have to be able to gauge those things to say, okay, well, what makes sense for me today? What is a realistic and achievable goal for today, or a step that I can take today towards my goal? So a strategy that I want to give you guys today is a strategy that I've developed, and it's called, well, I refer to it as my P.E.I.R strategy. It's for making sure that you're focusing on progress and not perfection. So the acronym, write this down. If you have some pen and paper, write this down. It starts P.E.I.R, P.E.I.R. The P stands for practice. The P stands for practice and prepare. And that makes sure that that's the first thing that you're going to do. Before you do anything, before you execute on an idea, whether it's a book that you want to be writing, whether it's a business that you want to start, you need to prepare for it ahead of time. That's going to be your first step. The E stands for execute. Once you've practiced, once you've prepared, it's now time to execute on that idea. Again, get it in your minds right now. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. It's not going to be exactly what you had in your mind. That's okay, because you're still learning as you go, right? So you need to develop the tools that you need to be able to build it the way that you want to build it. So executing is the second step. The third step is improve it. Now that you've executed, you need to improve. And you have to be able to reflect on what it is that you have already accomplished to be able to make sure that you are moving forward in a way that makes sense and is on track for where you want to be. And the last step is to repeat. So once you've done all those 3 steps before, then you need to continually repeat the cycle. Here's why this strategy is really effective if you're making sure that you're implementing it on a regular basis. The practice and the preparation allows you to develop confidence. When you're going into something well prepared, you are more confident about your demeanor, about your abilities, about the fact that you are going to be able to execute, right? And that's the next step. And the execution allows you to take action. It gets you into a habit of making sure that you are always executing on your ideas, even if it doesn't work out in the end. The point is you are doing your part to make sure you're not giving up and you're practicing moving forward on those ideas. When you do that, you move on to improving. And once you're focusing on improving an idea, there are kind of 2 components to that. One, you want to reflect and look back, and you want to celebrate the things that have gone well. Take time to acknowledge them, to encourage yourself. And if you're working with the team, encourage your team as well. To say, these are the things that we did really well. These are things that went really well, that I'm proud of, that I'm happy with. And then once you've done that, that's the first thing. Once you've done that, look to see if you can revise any areas. What are some areas that we could have improved on? What are things that we could do a little bit better, or maybe that didn't go exactly as we had planned, or exactly as I had planned? So revision is the other part of improving something. And the last step, repeating. This is also equally as important, because when you repeat this process, you are building a skill. And a skill is built over time. It's something that you learn. It's not something that you automatically end up with. That's called a talent. That's something that you're born with. And that's a topic for a whole nother video. But a skill requires effort and learning to be able to make. And that's why you need to be repeating this process to make sure that you are building up this skill and building up this muscle, so that you will eventually get to a place where you are happy with the results and even more confident in your abilities and in what you're able to do. So just to recap, perfection is the enemy of progress. Perfection stops your forward motion, and it doesn't allow your standards to change to meet where you are at the current moment. And the strategy that I gave you to help you deal with perfection is the P.E.I.R strategy, P.E.I.R. Prepare or practice execute, improve, and repeat. So make sure you go back to the beginning of the video and just rewatch this and take notes if you haven't already. This strategy is really going to help you if you make sure that you're putting it into play on a regular basis. So if this video was something that you found helpful, or maybe even just in watching it, it maybe led you to think about a friend or a family member who could really benefit from this, I want you to go ahead and share this broadcast with them and tag them in the broadcast so that they can watch it and get the strategy for themselves. I also want you to head over to rjconnell.ca and just enter in your email address and let's stay connected, because I'm developing some tools that will really help you move past all of the things that are holding you back from starting your business and accomplishing your goals. And those tools and strategies would be so beneficial to you. So head over to rjconnell.ca and just tag in your email address and let's stay connected so that I can get those strategies and tools to you as they're ready. Thank you so much for joining me here again today, guys. I'm going to be back on Thursday morning. And as always, thank you so much for allowing me to accomplish my dreams by helping you live out yours. All right, bye, guys.